Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Colonel N.P. Muralidharan. I'm a veteran from the Indian Army Corps of Signals. I'm reminded of my good old days, school days, that is, exactly about 46 years ago, when I chose to join the country's most prestigious institution called the National Defense Academy, a place where I wish each one of you all should visit and, if possible, graduate from there. Now, in this brief little talk, what I'd like to tell each one of you all, what does it take to become an army officer, or for that matter, an armed forces officer of the Indian Army or the Indian Armed Forces? First and foremost, let me tell you, you got to have that national pride. Nation comes beyond anything, should be the first feeling in your heart, and that is the most important aspect if you want to join the armed forces. Secondly, it goes without saying, the army is not a cakewalk, or the armed forces is not a cakewalk. You've got to be physically fit. So what I would expect each one of you all to do is maintain yourself, keep yourself physically fit, play a lot of games, all sorts of games. Not important that you should represent this country in any game, but keep yourself very, very fit, both physically and mentally. Very, very important. Another very important attribute to be a soldier is courage. You've got to inculcate that habit of being courageous, be brave. When I say courageous, it means both physical and mental. Have the moral courage to stand up against anything that is wrong. Have the physical courage to take calculated risk. These are very, very important attributes to be a soldier. Last but not the least, the most important thing. In the Indian Army, we're not looking for any individual gladiators. We're looking for a team player. The Indian Army or the armed forces execute their mission as a team, not as individuals. So learn the art of camaraderie, learn the spirit of team spirit, and be part of the team. As a passing note, I'd like to tell you a small little story, which is not very alien as far as you all are concerned. You all must have all heard of this little story. Basically, to build this camaraderie and to teach you the team spirit. And that story goes something like this, which all of you have heard in your school days. This is the famous story about the race between the rabbit and the tortoise. All of you know the story. In a forbidden land, there was a forest where there was these animals, and somebody wanted to become the king of that forest. So the tortoise and the rabbit wanted to decide who exactly would be the king of that forest. Hence, they began the race. Somewhere down the lane, the rabbit was far ahead, went off, ate some berries, and went into a siesta or slumber. The tortoise slowly walked up and finished the finish line. The moral of that story, as you people remember, is slow and steady wins the race. My story begins from here. The rabbit didn't want to give up because he knew he was a swift animal. It was by mistake that he lost the race. So he challenges the tortoise once again. And this time, he does not do any mistake. no berries, no eating any fruits, ran to the finish line, won the race. The moral of this part of the story: once bitten, twice shy. Meaning, if you have done a mistake once, don't repeat it the second time. The story doesn't end here. The tortoise, being an intimidating beast, decides to challenge the rabbit once again. And this time, the tortoise said, "We will not run in this direction. We will run in this direction." The rabbit had nothing to lose, takes on the challenge. The race begins and they run in this direction. The rabbit almost reaches the finish line, but just short of the finish line, there's a small little water body. Now the rabbit cannot swim. So it stood next to the water body and kept looking up and down, not knowing what to do. A few days later, the tortoise slowly comes, looks at the rabbit, gets into the water and crosses the water body and wins the race. The moral of this part of the story: choose your killing grounds. Don't let the enemy always choose their killing grounds. You choose your killing grounds. Thereafter, there was lull in the forest, no competition, because the tortoise had already established that he was the winner. But the tortoise finally realized that if there is no competition in the market or in the forest, everything is very dull and no excitement. So he challenges the rabbit once again. Again, this time, they run the race in the same direction. The rabbit reaches the water body, can't cross. The tortoise comes slowly 2 days later, looks at the rabbit, gets into the water, comes out and says, "Hey buddy, sit on my back. Let both of us negotiate the water body together and win the race." The moral of this part of the story is what I want you people to remember: collaboration, team spirit. When you collaborate, when you have that team spirit, you will always be a winner. With that note, thank you very much.